want to know how to do a sweet burnout in your automatic car?
Oh yeah!
Well, today's your lucky day because I'm going to show you how it's done. And to do it, we're going to be using the greatest car ever made, the Ford Crown Vic Police Interceptor. And if you know of a better car, keep it to yourself because you're wrong. So step number one is going to be make sure you've got a car with enough power to do a burnout. We got no problems there in the Crown Vic, but it's going to be a lot easier if you got a rear-wheel drive car. Front-wheel drive cars can do it, but it's harder. It's a different way. You got to usually pull the e-brake and lock up the rear tires, but all-wheel drive cars aren't going to be able to do it because they've got way too much traction. But yeah, well, if you got enough power, then you're good to go. So we'll go on to step two. Alright, so for step two, you want to disable all your traction control and stability control systems. Every car is different. This car, Crown Vic, we're good. We ain't got to worry. This thing was meant for burnouts. No traction control on this one. But a lot of vehicles, it'll be, you know, somewhere up in here on the dash, maybe up above your stereo. Some of them, I know in some of the Mercury Grand Marquis, they're in the trunk, or not the trunk, sorry, the glove box. But it kind of depends on the vehicle. Some of them, you're going to have to hold the traction control button down for 10 seconds or more, and that fully disables all stability controls and everything. So before we get too far, one thing you need to know before you do burnout is it's really tough on the torque converter in your transmission. It's going to wear out your tires, obviously, and your brakes as well. So it's a lot of fun to do, but if you're doing it all the time, it's really hard on your car. That's when you're going to need a Police Interceptor Crown Vic, because they can take it. Okay, now step three, you're going to want to put your car into first gear. That's going to give you the best burnout, allow your torque converter to fully lock, get you the most power. Every car is a little different on this as well. Some of them you have to put into the manual mode and downshift it to first, but most of them, if you got a column shifter, it's always up on there. So that's what you want to do next. Okay, step four is let her rip. So you're gonna need your left foot on the brake, throw her down in first, and mash it. So if you've got a car that's going to spin them really fast, which the Crown Vics usually don't, but if you put some water on your tires or something like that to get them going quicker, you're going to have to keep the RPMs. You're going to have to let off the throttle and kind of keep them, you know, from redlining the whole time. Because then it's really hard on your car and you're going to blow your car up. But most cars you won't have to do that. A lot of cars with more power, you're going to have to play with that throttle and have good throttle control on there too. So when you're doing your burnout, when you're in the middle of it and your tires are spinning, you're going to want to let off the brake slowly until your RPMs start to build a little higher, and then your tires are going to spin faster. You want to find that point to where your brakes are just barely holding you back still, but your tires are going a lot faster once you start letting off. You'll find that sweet spot once you do it a couple times, but it makes a big difference in the burnout, and you get a lot more smoke too. And if you do your burnout right, it's going to look something like this on the ground when you're done. You're going to have a nice pile of rubber behind it. And not all your cars are going to leave 2 burnout marks. Crown Vics are limited slip rear end, so that means both the tires are going to spin, but some cars are an open diff, so you'll just have one, you're going to have one tire fire going. So that's all right on some cars. Not as cool, but it's still okay. So I got a pro tip for you before you do the burnout, which I was too excited to do the burnout and I didn't do it, so I'm not a pro, but put something on your wheel wells and on your fender so the burnt rubber doesn't stick to it, because it's really hard to get off after you do a burnout, especially if you let it sit. So I would use something like Pam cooking spray, actually works good, or if you're a dirt bike guy, use SC1. Any kind of high gloss coating will it should do pretty good, so try that out before you do the burnout.